So, I was perusing eBay for car parts, nothing in specific, and I came across a 304 duration, 12.5 lift Schrick camshaft for an M20 engine for cheap. I forget exactly what I paid for it, but it wasn't much. And you know, people typically don't put cams that big on factory displacement engines, but it was cheap. I figured if I can't make it work, I'll take it to a machine shop and have them tame it down for me, but I haven't done that yet. Now, basically, Schrick says that you can't use it with factory pistons, and that is true, because I tried to turn it over with the camshaft with the timing belt on, and the pistons would just bang against the valves. Which is why I'm making deeper valve reliefs to hopefully remedy that and make it work. Now, with a cam this big, this is pretty much as big as you can get for the M20. I think there's a 308, and people have had bigger ones custom made, but as far as you can get off the shelf or online or whatever, this is about as extreme as you can get. And especially with a factory displacement, which is 2.5 liters over like a 3.1 stroker, it doesn't make much power down low. It pretty much only makes power like above 4,500 RPM, which isn't that great for street driving, but I'm just after as much power as I can make. So that's what I'm doing. And I also got some nice steel valves. I cleaned up the combustion chamber. I poured it and polished it, got all the jagged edges out, and that's looking pretty good. Now, when you do run a cam this big, you do need stiff valve springs. I think I got these from VAC Motorsports. They're a dual spring design, they're shot peened, and a few other things. I think they're like 33% stiffer than the factory springs. I also got Ireland Engineering stiffened or heavy duty or reinforced rocker arms, because the M20 has a tendency to snap rocker arms in the factory configuration, and when you throw a big cam and stiff springs, that makes them last even less long. So definitely a good idea to go ahead and get the reinforced rockers. You can get billet rockers that are even stronger, but they're like $1,100. So I opted to not do that. I'm hoping that these deep valve reliefs are gonna hopefully get this thing on the road with this camshaft. Right, so now it's time to play with some Play-Doh. So I'm gonna put the Play-Doh on the ones that I dug the least deep, just to give me the kind of worst case scenario. I've chosen pink. If you don't get pink Play-Doh, it won't work, so it has to be pink. Definitely not orange, no orange. And after that, I'm just gonna put the head on with the timing belt, line up the marks, and turn it over with my hand, and hopefully it cranks over. If it doesn't, I'm in trouble. I'm pretty much screwed if it doesn't turn over. Pretty sure it will, but if it doesn't, I'm fucked. All right, so they fell off of their original place a little bit, but oh yeah, we've got quite a bit of clearance here on the exhaust valve. Could stand to have a little bit more in the intake. Ooh, man. Let's see if I can cut this open. Get a cross section here. Right, so there is that much intake clearance. And on the exhaust, I made a little pizza slice. There is that much. That part on the end where the bread is, that's how much clearance there is. Not bad. Keep in mind also, like I said earlier, I put the Play-Doh on the ones that I dug the least deep. So this is the least amount of clearance out of all of them that I dug. So I might dig them a little bit deeper just for added insurance, but so far this is looking good. Yeah! Alright, so I'm about done molesting these pistons. I've notched them about as deep as I'm willing to, because I don't want to go all the way through them, because that would be bad. But now, I'm doing just a little bit of work to the cylinder head. It's got this like little casting mark or something on the side here. It's a little ridge, and there's a few jaggies, like the part where the fuel injector comes out of is a little bit questionable, so I'm just smoothing out the ends of the intake runners. Okay, so I'm in the process of putting the head back on. I put the intake manifold back on. I got the injectors on and the thermostat shroud. I also got this nice blue timing belt. It's actually, I think it's made of Kevlar. I might be wrong on that, but supposedly it's 3 times stronger than the factory one. Whether that's true, I don't know. I'm just going to take their word for it. So, I've got both surfaces nice and cleaned up. Got the intake manifold on the head. And now it's just a matter of my scrawny ass lifting this thing up on there. Damn you!
One eternity later.
Right, so, racing cam in a stock M20, is it worth it? It really just depends what you're into. If you want the smoothest engine ever, if you want it to idle perfectly and cruise perfectly and just be this, you know, get in it and go, no fuss engine, then you're definitely looking in the wrong place. A smaller cam upgrade might be more your thing, maybe 272 Schrick. Though that's a much more popular option with M20s. But as far as my engine with the 304 duration with 2.5 displacement, you know, it's really not that terrible to daily drive. I've been daily driving it for about a month now, and you know, The only real downside that I've noticed is having to rev it higher to start out, but after you get it moving, it's perfectly fine. You know, I can cruise down the highway 70 miles per hour all day, and there's no issues. It runs just as smooth as it did before. It is definitely killing the clutch faster, though. The clutch will die faster than it did as if I didn't do this, but yeah, whatever. One big reason to put a big cam in your car is for the idle sound. The idle sound is, oh man, it just sounds awesome. I love big choppy cam idles, and if you don't love it, there's probably something wrong with your ears. As far as how much power it's making, my butt dyno tells me that it's making about 30 more horsepower, about 4,000 RPM, which is pretty good. You know, 30 horsepower over a 170 horsepower engine, you know, that brings it up to 200. But at the same time, when you look at price to performance, you know, I spent about $1,300 on this head build for 30 horsepower. Now, you can take with that what you will. If for some reason you just don't like turbos for whatever reason and you want to make the power naturally aspirated, then this is the route you're going to want to take. Would definitely pair it with a stroker as well. But I do plan on turbocharging it later down the road, and this cam is going to help it flow better. I can make the same amount of power with less boost, but overall, not a bad engine. And you know, it sounds absolutely just ridiculous at idle. And the factory rev limiter on these engines is 6,200 RPM. I've upped mine to 7,000. Theoretically, I could run more. I could run 8,000, but that would be kind of pushing my luck, and I don't want to kill the engine if I can help it. So I'm just gonna stick with 7,000. That's 800 over stock. And that's, you know, that's still pretty nice. It sounds really good. So yeah, just wanted to log the build. And yeah, I will see you in the next one. Or not. Whatever. Works for me.